Stephen A. Smith.
Very first move as the executive was to sign Lamar Odom, who was on crack.
Is not a big fan.
It's better not to riot. I'm not pro-riot, okay? Let me be very clear about that off the top.
I'm not saying that. I just brought that up.
Rioting in their own communities, black people don't own those communities. They don't own those communities. And this culture has been rioting against black people for hundreds of years now.
Of his former co-host.
I didn't like working with him, man. It's just that damn simple. You weren't an athlete, and you weren't a journalist. And the absence of the two components left people wondering, why should we listen to you? It was like I was damn near doing the show by myself because we were oceans apart in terms of cachet.
Max Kellerman.
You had an opportunity to show up for a workout. And oh, by the way, you showed up in a Kunta Kinte shirt. That's what you did for owners that you want to play for. Now, whether you like it or not, the bottom line is they're owners in the league with the ability to employ you. When you want a job, these are not things that you do.
Like, who cares if he's wearing a Kunta Kinte t-shirt? Like, is our original sin in this country slavery, yes or no? Is that the reason that 31 of the 32 owners are white, yes or no? Because of the power structure, yes or no? Yes, of course it is. That's the very thing that's related to the reason Kaepernick was protesting in the first place. So what if he shows up with the Kunta Kinte t-shirt?
And he's continuing to let everyone know again.
How do you think Max feels? How do you think Max feels about all of this?
That a debate show requires certain things that I believed he did not bring to the table when it came to sitting opposite of me. Max Kellerman and I, as far as I was concerned, did not work for me. It was not a show that I wanted to be a part of for years to come. To me, if I'm saying, man, get rid of this dude, fire him, he don't deserve a job in this business, that's an entirely different matter altogether, which I have never nor would I ever say. But me saying, yo, this is not the partner for me, there is no crime in that. I ain't apologizing for it. I'm not taking it back. I'm not stuttering. I'm not mincing words.
And again,
just because I don't want to work with you directly in a debate show doesn't mean I didn't want to work with you. Doesn't mean I couldn't have worked with him covering a boxing match. Doesn't mean I couldn't have worked with him covering a UFC match. I'm just talking about a 2-hour debate show. I wanted a different partner. That's all.
And again, even telling Rosenberg at Ebro on Hot 97 that he wanted Max off the show and felt a change was needed. A direct quote. The reason why I'm unapologetic about my position, it's no knock against him professionally. It's not like I wanted the guy to be fired. I knew there were landing spots for him available at this network that would generate just as much, if not more revenue for him and all that other stuff. That is a bold-faced lie. Because the number one show, to his credit, because of Stephen A. Smith, is First Take. Where is someone, if they were to land a role on a network that would receive, to them, the biggest financial check that they have potentially ever received if they haven't played professionally, it would be as a lead host on the number one show. Now, though, he's doing it again.
What was the rub there? Why wasn't that show as successful as other partners that you've had in that spot?
Lack of chemistry. Believe it or not, it was more his fault than mine.
Let's pause here. It just feels like he's bitter. It does. It just gives off that vibe. And there have been folks I've spoken to who have told me that it felt like Max Kellerman was giving off a vibe that he's a know-it-all and he knows everything, and that he was, in a way, trying to be the brainchild of what was happening at that current moment in 2020. And I do understand that perspective, but he was just giving his perspective on, let's be real, events that some people have never seen before, never studied before, never read about before, and maybe it was coming to them firsthand on First Take, pardon the pun. And there was plenty of the things that he said where the substance was pure, and they had to address those issues that were going on because they would have looked tone deaf if they didn't. Plus, sports wasn't going on for some time. Nonetheless, don't want to leave that out. More from Stephen A.
I've seen his friend Marcellus Wiley bring up stuff. Marcellus Wiley knows one side. He certainly never spoke to me about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Never called, never asked, or anything like that. And I'm not hating on him for it because that's his man. Him and Max are very, very tight. But if you want to talk about me, I'm not hard to find.
Pause for context. What did Marcellus Wiley say on his show?
Stephen A. wanted Max for very specific reasons. Now, I'm going to say these reasons, and everybody's going to have a reaction. He wanted Max first because he was white. He wanted Max second because he was intelligent. He wanted Max third because Max can speak on all things. Stephen A.'s first take, the show wanted Max to speak for white America. That's that balancing act. You remember that model? It still exists, but it was really the model. Black, white, all right? Now, it's not just Max speak for white America, but that would allow Stephen A., brother, get to speak for black America. Stephen A., the entertainer, had to meet Max Kellerman, the educator. He started to realize he was getting outshined in those conversations. Outshined for these reasons, and I know these reasons. Because Max Kellerman is not only a historian, he has a degree in history from Columbia University, same school I went to, Ivy League school. But the dude is a bona fide genius. I think that Stephen A., because he gave him that opportunity, as you know, Stephen A., when he gives you opportunity, he also going to say, hey, you my subordinate. You stay in your lane. I hooked you up. I got you. Stay there. Max wasn't going to stay there.
By the way, kudos for going independent. It is awesome to see. Thus, Stephen A. fired back.
If I ever saw him again, one-on-one, it would be like a black man going in a public platform and saying another black man is scared for a black man to sit up there and say another black man is scared of somebody's intellect. Come on, bro. That's just the line you cross.
On Fully Loaded, Smith went further.
When I think about Max Kellerman, I think about the narrative that he's helped put out there. And I'm like, talk to me. And all you had to do, because I might, there's certain things I may not say publicly, but I'd have told Marcellus, because I know that's his boy.
Right.
But it was a chemistry issue. And I think that people need to understand it was mostly my fault. I'm the leader. I'm the executive producer of the show. I'm the star of the show.
Pause once more. I want to be very clear here, okay? I truly believe Stephen A., who is successful, feels like an understatement at this point. Best-selling author. He rose through the ranks, got fired, came back even better, and he is the #1 media personality. I think he realized midway through this podcast session on Fully Loaded, go subscribe to them. Chris Carter's awesome. He realized midway, this isn't what leaders do. Leaders don't put down others and say it was their fault. I truly believe he realized I take the blame as well. Because he has been going at Max Kellerman's neck for years now. And the reason why Kellerman has not said anything, at least yet, is because he's likely still under contract getting paid and doesn't want to ruffle the feathers from getting that check over and over again each and every month. So it just feels like he's playing cleanup here. That is what I am taking in, and you probably should too.
I wasn't looking at Max Kellerman and saying it was his fault that the show failed. I'm talking about us. How I vibe with all the people that I vibe for. The proof is in the pudding. Look at how I vibed with the people that have been there since he's been gone. Look at how I vibed with Skip Bayless as a debate partner before he arrived. I think that Max Kellerman is somebody that I'm rooting for to return to this business. He's somebody that is nothing short of brilliant, like genius level, brilliant. Absolutely true. Here's the issue for a debate show. Because you are such a genius and you are so brilliant, and you have the ability to articulate yourself the way that he does, at some point in time, you're talking and you're talking and you're talking, and you're talking above the audience to the point where they find themselves asking, what did you just say?
Hang on. A legitimate question brought up by Awful Announcing was this. That seems like a bit of an insult to their audience, which I agree with. Having a little bit of faith that your audience is capable of consuming intelligent conversations and something more than just quick hits about the Dallas Cowboys or Los Angeles Lakers. Smith admitted First Take's ratings didn't reflect his belief that they weren't resonating with their audience, but he sensed a staleness when speaking with fans and reading the headlines being written about the show. Couldn't have said it better myself. Then he would utter the most hurtful quote of all.
And so I knew it was me. But I said, it's us because it's a debate show. I can't debate myself.
Which goes to show you the lengths he will go and how he feels about all of this. I await to see what Max Kellerman is going to say and when he will say it. Or if he realizes the juice isn't worth the squeeze when he does make a return. Brian Kenny gave an interview to Awful Announcing and said that it will be somewhat soon. My guess is it will be when the ESPN checks are through coming in. Because if you remember, he was part of the mass layoffs that occurred. So if we're just doing, a quick amount of math, they could save money, but also allocate some of those funds that they are saving to a Pat McAfee, to a Shannon Sharp. So at this point, I understand that Stephen A. Smith is playing the media game because whenever he brings up Max Kellerman, and I've admitted to this in the past and I will continue to do so, I am still interested. Others are still very interested. And he knows when he brings this up that he is going to be talked about because it is just feeding us crumbs until we have none left to eat. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports and or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.